Aliya Mohammed. I was born in Leeds in West Yorkshire. I was born in a family of 5 children and I'm the middle child. So I have an older sister, an older brother, and then also a younger sister and a younger brother. I had a very eventful early life because I was brought up in a very busy family. It was quite a big household with lots of guests coming and going as well all the time. It was quite a fun-filled childhood, really, to be honest. In my early career, I started off as a journalist. I used to work for a PR company just after I graduated. My role was to report on the success of a lot of British global companies. So one of the ones that I used to report on was based in Karachi in Pakistan. So my job was to go over and interview people that work for the company and write about that within the newsletter. I really enjoyed the job. However, at the time, when I fell pregnant, I took leave for a little while, and I was a stay-at-home mum for a few years, bringing up my 2 children. And when both my children started school, I then came back into the third sector. I was very new to the third sector at the time. My first job was a project manager role. I'd heard about the charity and I was very interested in their work. It was a women's equality charity, and they did some really good, exceptional work with local women in the communities, and just bettering their communities really, and developing just community relations and community cohesion. So my first job was project manager for a employment project, a WEFO-funded employment project. At the time it was Newport, but expanded quite quickly to Cardiff as well. So because I really enjoyed my job, I suppose because of that I feel that I did very well in the job. But I was also very lucky that I worked under a really good manager who recognised my skills as well, and she helped me as well in my career. She looked at other roles as well within the organisation, and quite quickly, within 1 year in fact, I was actually promoted to the assistant director role, and just a year after that, when the director retired, into the actual director's role too. So I was very lucky in that sense that my skills, the work that I had produced, that was really recognised by my line manager of the time. And because of it, then I was promoted, and I did well within the sector itself and within that organisation. So after this, I moved on to work in social care. However, I was only there for a year, and I worked for an organisation called Reach. And Reach was part of which is now the Pobble Group. Prior to that, it was part of a group called the Seren Group. And however, I didn't enjoy the role very much. It was a very, very busy role. It was a very large organisation as well, but I didn't feel as much passion for social care as I did for the equality sector. So I only stayed really in social care for about a year before I moved back into the equality sector, and I came here to Race Equality First when the role of Chief Executive was advertised. I came to this role in 2012, and I've been here as Chief Executive ever since then, in 2012, for almost 10 years now. So I've thoroughly enjoyed this job. I'm very passionate about the work. We deal with assistance, support for victims of hate crime and discrimination, and that's any form of hate crime and discrimination, not just racial. And we support victims from the first inquiry of their case all the way up to even tribunal or court, if the case requires this. And we also deliver a number of equality projects as well, just to generally promote equality. And these are projects for perhaps elder, ethnic minority people who can't access public services, projects to promote healthy living within ethnic minority communities, and maybe just projects to promote physical activities as well within ethnic minority people. who live in Wales, across the whole of Wales. As we can see from what's happening in local news at the moment, racism is still very much alive within our society. It exists as a daily issue for many, many of us ethnic minority people who live in the UK. And we've just witnessed this within the Euro final now as well, for the 3 black players who have experienced racism within social media. We're often asked to make comment by press, by media on these issues. But the thing that will actually change this is if we just uphold legislation which is already in place. So we have the Equality Act 2010, which all employers should actually follow, but they don't. We have hate crime legislation as well, which just as a general public, we should be following this legislation as well. But though many people are aware of this, they're aware that it's outlawed to be racist towards another individual. We still see a lot of racism, and that's because there's still a lot of systemic racism within the UK society, within our organisations, within our establishments within the UK, and this tells us that a lot of work still needs to be done to challenge and to combat racism for many of the ethnic minority people that are still living here in the UK. So the work that we do is essential in our everyday life. It's essential to make sure that we pave a more equal society for the younger generations and for our children, for our grandchildren as well. So I feel very proud to be involved in this work. I feel that we've made strides as well in terms of racial equality within the UK, but there's still a very long way to go. And the only way that we're going to bring this change is if we're listened to now. You know, we've had a lot of issues in the media recently, all the way from last year with the killing of George Floyd and Black Lives Matter protests last year, all the way to now, the issues that we're hearing with the Euro as well. So we need to be listened to now, really, and action needs to be taken to actually now finally, in a meaningful way, actually take action to stamp out systemic racism within our society, because that is the issue, that's the core of the issue, is the systemic racism that exists. What I'd like to see achieved for the future is, this is a big wish list actually, I suppose a more equal society really, which we know we're not really going to get. You know, we're still here, 50, 60 years on. I'd like to see us reaching it, you know, a lot quicker, you know, and making bigger strides, because it feels like we've made, wherever we would take one step forwards, we're still taking 2 steps back. As an organisation, we deal with so many cases throughout the year. You know, for instance, we had 12 tribunals last year. We had 166 cases of discrimination within, and many of them were in employment. And you would think that our employers and our institutions here in the UK would know better. We're seeing now, though, however, that it doesn't appear to be the case, where there is difference, where we are all different as human beings. There is always going to be discrimination. There's always going to be hate towards other people who are different to you, who look different to you. So it's quite a big wish list, I suppose. In terms of personal life, I suppose my children really that I'm looking at, you know. I'd like to see them grow into upstanding, good human beings, and just see them through their university years. They're both at university at the moment, one is about to complete, and my son still has 2 years left. So I'd like to see them grow into good human beings who've been taught to, you know, treat others equally and treat others well, and just go into good professions, good careers. And my advice really would be to choose a career where you feel a passion for the work. If you actually feel a passion for what you do, then you are going to do well. If you encounter any obstacles, any issues along the way, maybe because of your ethnicity, then always challenge those. Take action around them, and don't accept them at all, because they're not acceptable in our current society, in our laws, you know. We have laws to deal with these issues, so always make sure that those laws are being upheld by your employer, and always take action and challenge them. But where I've encountered barriers and obstacles, I have not let them actually get in the way of my career. I have always just looked at a career where I feel passionate about the work, where I've enjoyed the actual job itself, and just because I've had enjoyment for the job, I've prospered in every single role. Always enjoy what you do, and always remember that if you that is the key really to progressing really in your career. I suppose it's just to do as hard as you can, and if you don't, you don't do as well as you thought that you could do, then I wouldn't despair at all. For people who work hard. And like I said, if you just find something that you feel passionate about, you will find progress within that. I think MY is a fantastic organisation. I think you should carry on doing what you do. Ethnic minority women really need recognition. We don't get enough recognition at all, and we see this in many awards across Wales at the moment. We need to encourage more women to apply for these types of awards, to get recognised and to celebrate their achievements within society. We've done a fantastic job, and we've contributed a lot towards society. So make sure we keep celebrating this, and make sure that you do sing about your own achievements and and celebrate it with your friends, your family, and with society itself as well.